course there was no audio. Jesus. Well, thank you, GoPro Slow Yo. Silent films. I was doing silent films. No, I'll tell you what it was. I had my watch plugged into the USB port on the side of my laptop, and for some reason I thought my USB connection and audio was already connected. And then when you said silent audio, I realized, oh, I'm missing my microphone. So. Yeah, so cool. I get to say the same thing I just got done talking about all over again. So I'm learning about prompt engineering, and it basically is equating to learning how to get more information out of an AI or to more effectively use it, which 5 minutes ago I equated to being able to Google dork something. When you're about a decade ago, when everybody was trying to learn OSINT, and the best ways to get the most you could out of your search engine by querying certain things, or which was one reason it was hard for me to use IoT devices, because I didn't know how to query an IoT device. When you would ask it, hey Alexa, or hey Google, or whatever. Crap. Seriously. It was hard for me because all I knew how to do was to Google dork with my fingers and type in the command line on the browser window. So learning how to use AI and advanced prompt techniques and guarding against prompt misuse. So I've been learning this. Apparently it's a free course for mostly to enroll with. I haven't logged in, so I didn't do that. But some of the discussion that I ran into on other sites when they were telling me about whether or not this was a good certification or a good thing to learn was this white paper from Stanford on, okay, there we go, about generative AI and offensive cyber operations. And so they have been, they mentioned the rapid evolution of Gen AI, introduce new dimensions of cybersecurity, particularly in cyber operations. Literature review explores how adversarial actors leverage Gen AI across various stages of the cyber kill chain, including recon, weaponization, initial access, exploitation, and C2. So you can also just use the PDF here if you want to watch that. But it's interesting how quickly our attackers are able to pivot, whereas some of us are left in the dust with regards to how some of these exist. So Tiffany Saad and Aaron Aubrey-Ning from CrowdStrike wrote this up. It's a good 15 pages. We're not going to go through it, but the overarching discussion is, they're revealing the emerging threats posed by the misuse of AI technologies, by cyber operations, by adversarial states. And they started a study on how entities backed by nations such as all the OFAC in China have adapted AI tools for sophisticated cyber tactics. The report identified operations carried out by hacking groups like Charcoal Typhoon, Forest Blizzard, and Crimson Sandstorm, none of which were actually named by CrowdStrike, or if they are, then they have different names. For example, they have strategically implemented LLMs to conduct in-depth reconnaissance, automating the extraction of detailed intelligence from expansive digital environments. This not only refines the initial information gathering, but also augments the execution phases of cyber attacks. So they're using, it sounds like they're using LLMs to identify areas where there could be weakness, there could be seriously. I'm out of practice. So yeah, they broadly resorted to ChatGPT to support open source intelligence collection, debugging code. So the data that OpenAI has been trained with makes it possible to find out information, because we know that OpenAI and a lot of these AI companies are using data sets that maybe they shouldn't have used in the first place. There's nothing we can do about that right now because they've already done it. It's like, oh, sorry, our bad. We'll try better next time on the second gen version of this, or we'll get better with that. But we know that data exists in there, whether or not they put it in there or the AI was smart enough to make inferences about that data, which is the second level stuff. And so they say to argue the real advantage of Gen AI is the context of offensive cyber operations, not in the creation of novel tactics, but the enhancement of existing ones, which makes sense. It's not going to open a shell for you, but it will help you maybe analyze things. If you have a large data set, or if you have large numbers of IP addresses, it may be able to help you with accuracy and speed. This would be a good one to pick because it's this, or this is a poor choice because it's so far distant in terms of hops. Like, let's say you did an Nmap scan and you've got thousands of IP addresses. You could use the AI to go, well, okay, this one has, ports that go out to, various things. So, allows adversaries to sift through vast quantities of data rapidly, identifying high-value targets and tailoring strategies accordingly. So, based on this IP address and this WordPress implementation with these plugins, you might want to use this to attack it. Or, I would say anything that can be done to make testing more efficient. There it is. To make more valid use of a pen tester or red teamer's time. In this case would be great. The problem with using it for like red team operations is you kind of need to have something, I would imagine, that's local. Last thing you want to do is be uploading data sets, things into like OpenAI, because even if it does have privacy controls, those are going to be easily routed around. The training that it uses will, you're basically sharing that information. So you have to be smart about what you're sharing to your AI, especially if you don't control that AI. And there are local versions of those things, but this was an interesting paper. I haven't read through all of it yet. I got to, I actually got busy reading so many of these that I didn't make it past the bibliography on the first page. So a lot of good links in here to various articles. A lot of new stuff, including, AI hype as risk strategy, or cybersecurity risk, moral responsibility of implementing Gen AI in business, AI and ethics. Well, interesting. Those two things don't seem to fit together, but they do, I guess. Rise of malicious LLMs from trust waves is a good write-up from them. So that white paper has a lot of very good articles and links to other resources if you are interested in understanding those things. So let me see, which one is, okay, let me see here. I can't resize the window once I've done that. So how's everybody doing today? It's Monday, which normally isn't a day I record. Obviously, it shows when I couldn't even remember to put my my audio on. Anybody excited about B-Side Seattle or B-Side San Diego, which is coming up in a few months, or a local security conference you're doing? Would love to hear some hype from B-Sides or a local security conference you're doing. We can give them a little love there. So found this article, or found this on, I think, Blue Team Sec. Let me see. Yeah, found this on Blue Team Sec. GitLeaks Verifier. It's verifying or filtering secrets found by GitLeaks. Interesting verification tool. again, an OSINT tool, which is a lot of what we are trying to do and what bad guys are trying to do when they're looking for ways into our organizations. So this project, it's Python-based project, which is great for me because I'm learning Python as I go. And this project provides a command line interface tool to verify secrets found by gitleaks that supports various secret types and provides options for verbosity, rule filtering, and optional customization or output customization. And yeah, so there's that that link. Looks like you need to install pip, and it's got a requirements.txt to give you examples, gitleaks, git. Got a verbose output here. Okay, there we go. That gets me every time. So filter by rule, so you can set rule sets or specify output specific outputs for your files or only valid secrets. So it's got a lot of excellent functionality. Okay, good. Tool verifies the following secrets: generic APIs keys, Cloudflare API keys, Pipel, yes, Shopify access tokens. Interesting. Okay. So it looks like they have a lot of data formats or a lot of key formats based on secrets that could be accidentally left in your GitHub repos. Because, if you're running a Python script or you're running some kind of automation, you leave your Slack webhook API key or your Slack tokens in there, you can, cause actions to occur on various Slacks that you'll have. So, SSH keys, that's a big one. Twitter API keys, a lot of automation functions. So if you are building actions that happen or whatever, so it looks like it's extensible. So if you could add your token or UUID or whatever that you're using, you can add those in there. So that was a good one. Okay, gotta add to that. So, and here's the blue team link for that. So there we go. There was it's hard to go watch or go read the news because anything InfoSec related usually has something to do with what's going on with the U.S. government. But there were a few options here that came up. County employees working from home after a cyber incident. So, if you ever want to work from home and you're currently RTO, one of the things you could do after doing so would be to Arundel County taking precautions after a cyber incident forced county government to close. So now everybody's working from home. County buildings will be open Tuesday. It's hard to pin down a culprit. Figuring out who's behind it could take days or months. This is in Maryland, so Towson, Maryland, yeah. Towson University, and the director for the Center for Interdisciplinary and Innovation Cybersecurity. They're fairly easy to do. They can be from nation states or they can be from random hacker groups. The county said it's taken precautions that include limiting access to the internet in some systems. Well, that ship has kind of sailed, Maybe now they'll limit access to the internet in some systems. Taylor said someone may have been trying to steal information. Sure. There's a nationwide threat for ransomware attack called Ghost, that whether this is related or not just shows you how common these are. Okay, so we don't know if it's Ghost or not, or somebody disclosed that they were hit by the Ghost malware, or ransomware. Typically, ransomware attacks are done by a combination of things. Phishing, that's one aspect. Apparently, Ghost is not phishing related. The second aspect of ransomware attacks is vulnerability in the code. Yeah, I guess so. She said hackers always looking for weaknesses in code. That's fair. First line of attack is to stop it from getting worse. That's why the employees are working remotely. What? Okay. I don't know how employees working remotely is going to stop vulnerabilities in code or phishing, unless by working remotely means they're not really working and they've locked out and isolated people from their systems. That could be the way that they're getting around, stopping the phishing or stopping the vulnerabilities in the code. I guess maybe I have to be there for them to decide that they want to do that. Oh, well, hello, Oday3301. Thank you for rating. It's a big day for me, I guess. People must want people rating. So welcome to 3301. Appreciate y'all coming by. I hope you're not looking for generative AI stuff and hoping that, shout out Oday3301. There we go. Hello, hi, how you doing? First time chatter. Welcome 3301. Glad to have you. We're here talking about some ransomware, and I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to grok why a ransomware attack would cause people to work from home when the person that is making the suggestion is that phishing is one aspect. The second aspect of ransomware attacks is vulnerability in the code. And she said hackers are looking for weaknesses in the code. The first line of attack is to stop it from getting worse, and that's why the employees are working remotely. My feeling on that, I don't quite understand why a person would be working from home if maybe they're not allowed to touch the code when they're working from home. Maybe they don't have the... That's what I said, 3301. I don't know. Yeah. Attributing a cybersecurity attack is very difficult. Well, you shouldn't be worried about that just yet until you've actually isolated and contained and done all your lessons learned, and then you can start figuring out who to attribute the cyber attack to. I would argue that nobody gives a shit about the cyber attack who actually did it, except maybe local and national authorities, if they can, point to a specific team that might be the reason why, but you don't really need to worry about attributing the cyber attack. This is in Maryland where this attack occurred. It's working with law enforcement, IT specialists, and cybersecurity experts to investigate. The incident did not impact the library system or public schools. So this is a county in Maryland that is closed their county buildings because of some reason. They assume that they're going to go back to work tomorrow because they said county buildings will be open Tuesday, so they've either isolated it or they have it's something. So they have an idea that they think that will solve a problem and that everybody will be able to go back to work tomorrow. I don't know how that's actually going to work for them, but I hope it does, and they can recover quickly. It's, having watched this space for several years and read the articles on this, even big cities like Dallas have been down for months, depending on how much or how deep attackers have gotten inside of IT systems or ransomware systems. There's always a recovery period while you get back up to operations. Now, unless their return to operations is like within hours because they don't have a ton of infrastructure, which is entirely possible, depending on how big this county is and how many employees they have to deal with, or they have to rebuild boxes or what have you. There's a lot. There's not a lot of real meat here on this article, so I'm sure that they will figure that out. So let me see what else. AI has a lot, but it's always the same. Someone did not make all the updates. Another one clicked on a link with macros. The hacker can suck on AD and take over everything because of WinSpy. Sure, I mean, yeah, it doesn't take much, especially as we've seen. You've got a lot of organizations that aren't investing in IT or security. How many times do security people have to be told, or how many times does IT people or management have to be told by security, hey, don't do this thing or need to do this thing? Yeah, it's 20 years to say, yeah, nothing has changed really. Yeah, so yeah. Australia is the latest domino to fall in government Kaspersky. I don't understand. Say this move comes less than a year after the United States banned Kaspersky products out of the same fear the company is under Russian government control. Considering our latest regime change, I would be surprised if Kaspersky gets unbanned within the next few months. That would be my guess, that all of a sudden Kaspersky will be cleared of all charges and we won't have to worry about Kaspersky being under Russian government control because, that's just what happens. So what they say, Department of Home Affairs, a mandatory requirement, government entities, no. Okay, so Australia is following the US's, after what, months and months and months, but Australia is actually concerned about Kaspersky, so they're going to get rid of Kaspersky out of their country as well. Like I said, I expect the US to welcome Kaspersky back with open arms because that's just how things are running right now with the US government. So, because that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, hey, so we got a few people on here right now. Anybody looking for a job? Anybody, if you're out of work or you're worried about company layoffs, if you're looking for work, it's a bad job market, but if you are interested, we have a job board on our Discord. I have been looking myself, I won't lie. But if you're interested and you're looking for a job, you can post your resume up over there on our Discord and our job board. And, the one thing that I've started doing with jobs, in this case, it's a non sequitur, but I will try to find people who work at those companies after I've submitted for those jobs, or I will, LinkedIn has a ton of ghost jobs. So what I like to do is go and talk to the hiring managers from those companies if I can, and hunt up a contact who is hiring for those companies to ask the question, hey, is this a real job? So far I've gotten a couple of, go fuck yourself emails, or sorry, we've gone in another direction, which is the new go fuck yourself emails. Don't be deterred. There's articles and news stories about people who've, applied to hundreds of jobs, several, 1 or 2% have come back with a recruiter, and then they've actually gone through interviews. There is, it is what it is. I actually keep looking in my feed on Feedly to see if, there's any kind of news articles about, cybersecurity, job, talent shortages or whatever. Because I posted up something the other day. It was like, where was it? It was cybersecurity talent shortage. And what I wanted to do in Google was to see if there'd been anything in the last month or so where somebody had been talking about that. Oh, there you go. So WSJ, cybersecurity talent shortages, overblown expectations, no clear doorway in, and constant change make cyber a tough field to enter. This is not the article I was looking for, but it may be the article we need, right? Now, watch the paywall come up. So yeah, there's the paywall. Let me see. I would love to read this article to see if it's actually legit or not. 12foot.io. Oh, please enable JS and disable any ad blockers. Okay. Oh, nope. Okay, let me see. Disabled. Okay. Oh man. Yep. Okay. So Wall Street Journal is has gotten wise to that. So let's see. Okay, so here's one from February the 3rd from some place called American Banker. They have a paywall too, and they have lovely pop-ups. So the talent shortage is not growing. It's people again do not know how to hire. So companies can't fill roles. Workers shut out. Huh. Breaking into cybersecurity careers has never been easy, and it's more competitive than ever. At the same time, there's a well-documented cybersecurity talent shortage. Okay. This is the ISC squared, which of course ISC squared has a. Obviously, they want people to be certified with all of their certifications. Media should start to blame the hacked company and ask the right questions. It's always only, ooh, this bad criminal Russians had some magic spells and hacked us over magic. That's a true statement, 3301. The thing is, it's like it doesn't matter who attacked. The folks in that county. The point of it is to get back to work, and whether it was the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, the Libyans, the Outer Mongolians, the Lithuanians, whatever, a hacktivist, whatever, it doesn't matter. The key is to get back to work, and trying to blame some other country because your IT systems got hacked because Bob clicked on a link in an email or decided to have his little Billy run his homework on the laptop, and oh yeah, he's going to download and play Minecraft with a custom loader on his work computer. None of that matters. It's getting back to work and practicing safe hygiene for security. But yeah, I mean, if you can blame somebody, oh, the evil Russians or the evil Outer Mongolians or the evil Lithuanians or whatever, you can, be the victim, right? And so I understand the need to want to blame other folks for your being owned, but they're not doing anybody any favors by doing that. So they say at the same time, there's a well-documented cybersecurity talent shortage with an estimated 4.8 million more cybersecurity professionals needed to globally secure organizations properly. Okay, so having read the fine print here, so they say, and I think this is what we have missed for the past, 10, 15 years, when we say they're needed, 4.8 million needed globally to secure organizations properly. That makes me ask, what is properly? When we're securing organizations properly, does that mean that there's supposed to be a certain metric or a certain level of manning that has to be done? Like if you have 12 IT systems or 10 security systems, each one of those needs a person, and you only have 5 people on your team right now, so you're missing 5 people? I don't know, but it's really weird. So according to ISC Squared, who is obviously biased in this because they think that their certifications will actually help people secure jobs, the demand for skilled professionals far outpaces the supply, particularly in specialized fields such as cloud security, application security, and incident response. Yet, despite this gap, companies continue to outsource critical functions overseas rather than invest in developing homegrown talent. This has major implications not only for job seekers, but also for national security. Let me see. Natural transition, layoffs in government, whatever, Doge, blah, blah, blah. The debate over degrees are necessary for cybersecurity continues. If degrees not mandatory, it still holds weight. Certifications held, but timing is everything. Ultimate differentiator is the experience required paradox for entry-level cybersecurity. Okay, so there's nothing here that is really making me go, aha, other than, them trying to to say that there's 5 million cybersecurity jobs needed globally to secure organizations properly. There's a lot of reading between the lines there. There may be a talent shortage, but I'm watching people on LinkedIn go months without finding jobs, which means it's either we're not explaining what we do well enough to get hired, which doesn't make a lot of sense because these people should know how to hire people that don't necessarily know how to advertise themselves. Companies aren't willing to write realistic job descriptions, or they're looking for anybody with AI in their resume, which is another problem that we have. And it doesn't help that there's a lot of layoffs, and the way that they're framing the layoffs as performance-based leaves a stigma of people who got laid off again in 2025, when it used to be like in the 1990s or early aughts, when you got laid off, you were laid off because you weren't doing a good job. There's a lot of folks in our industry who are senior or mid to senior that are being let go. And I think, so me and my wife and some of our friends were talking about that this weekend. They're not getting laid off for performance issues. They're getting laid off because companies want to move fast, right? They want to be first to market. And this kind of goes to other things you might see. So risk, when we point out risk, that makes everybody slow down. A company that is trying to get to market first has a high risk tolerance. So, we want our floating toilet seat to be the finest and first floating toilet seat out there, because if we can get our floating toilet seat out there, then all the other floating toilet seats look like they were just trying to copy us. Sounds good in theory, right? The security people, maybe your CISO, maybe your senior engineer types who've been in the information security community, 10, 15 years, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, still dealing with the emotional trauma of other floating toilet seats that have tried to been launched. And we have learned, we have experiential data. We have not only experiential data, but we automatically have a lower risk tolerance than people who want to push those floating toilet seats to the to market. And and with things like IoT or things that we're trying to push, like mobile devices or other new toys and new things that are going to come out, new technologies like AI. A lot of security folks are like, look, I've had my hand burnt, and I use the term, I think when we were talking about this, I've burned my hand 5 times now. I'm not willing to burn my hand again. But there are companies that we work with and for that they've forgotten that their hand has been burnt many times. And I don't know if it's, like childbirth where you forget the pain, the equivalent of that, where you're, it won't happen again, or, this is a new technology, we want to be first out there. They're going to burn their hands again. And security people are going to have to clean the mess up. And the problem comes, especially for senior managers, not just in security, but in project management and program management, who have seen this happen before. And, they're like, hey, whoa, we need to slow down. Maybe we need to, not, touch that hot pan again without a, some kind of risk mitigator. They're let go because of the perceived, well, you're not a team player, you're not on our side, you're just nothing but a black cloud, and we want to go ahead and push out our floating toilet seat. Who gives a shit about the consequences? So a lot of our layoffs are not necessarily performance-based. hey, you know, we're getting rid of the folks that are black clouds or the people that are not with us. And so you're trying to find the people that are more willing to go, yeah, I'm going to work with you. I haven't been burned as many times as those other folks, so I'm going to learn my lesson the hard way. And so that's why we have a job talent shortage, because you've got companies out there that want to move quick, but security and people who have the knowledge and have the experience come in with a realistic view of the world and a realistic view of how technology is implemented, especially by people who are ideas folks or creatives that are just trying to find the next $1 trillion floating toilet seat. And so, yeah, I don't know what the job market's going to look like in a few years. And, you know, we're going to see more layoffs, I think, especially from companies that haven't done those yet. I think it's a good time to maybe start 3301. I have an OSCP. It helps a lot. Even the OSCP is just expensive, but quite an easy cert. My problem is, as a European, I have a very strict rule about what a white hat defines and what a black hat defines. So 80% of my job offers on LinkedIn are black hats like GovMil or private sectors with deep connections to these. It's a dilemma. Yeah, I mean, it's... So I will agree with you to a point, 3301. When you have a wife and a family, if you don't have anybody depending on you and you're not the seagull wage owner, you have the space, you have the ability to go, yeah, I don't want to work for a company with ties to governments or organizations that are maybe as you know, not every you know, every company has ties to something that we probably don't like, or somebody can find something they don't like. When they'll offer me a job, or I'm not going to take it, and then I'm going to be evicted next week, or, you know, me and my family are going to have to move in with my parents, your ethics line is going to blur a little bit in this case. I don't know if you've run up against that 3301 yet, but when the choices are, I'm going to make rent this month, or I'm going to be out on my ass, or I'm not going to make my mortgage and the bank is going to foreclose on us, or we don't have money for blah, or we, you know, aren't going to survive in our current status, your ethics is going to shift. I keep telling people, take the jobs that come. You may not be happy working there, and that's fine. Keep looking. You know, I have heard people, even in this job market, go, well, you know, I've got this job offer and I don't know if I should take it. I've been out of work for 6 months and whatever, but I'm not really happy with the company. And I'm like, take the fucking job. You can continue to look for other positions elsewhere. There is no such thing as burning bridges at this point. But how are you doing on finding jobs with an OSCP? Are they coming to you, 3301? Are they? I'm just interested morbidly because, you know, I don't have an OSCP. I tried, but I just don't have the wherewithal to be a red teamer. I'd rather just manage those folks. But black hats. Gov, mil, and private sectors with deep connections to these. Yeah, yeah. It's rough having that. You know, it's a trade-off, right? It's like, you know, I'm going to have food. I'm going to have rent. I'm going to be able to pay my bills. I have 10 requests a month, but still self-employed. Interesting. Okay. And again, I guess it also depends on other factors like, are you willing to relocate? You know, the return to work thing is another thing that's caused some consternation with folks. And, you know, if you moved away for a reason during the pandemic and you are stuck because you have a family who's in school and you don't want to move them, and you've moved to a town of, you know, that isn't a big city, and you've got to commute, you're going to limit yourself, especially if they want to do RTO and you're going to have to go into an office. Hell, if you work for a multinational organization, they still want you to go into an office that your team may not even exist in, which is another thing. So, but yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't know if, usually it's cyclical. And what I'm hoping is that there's enough outrage coming from people on LinkedIn about recruiters and HR. I actually saw an article today about HR should not be hiring people because they don't have any context on how a job works. Where was that? Let me see. See if I can find that. HR shouldn't be hiring. Yeah. I don't think that's the right article, but I'd seen one about somebody saying, hey, HR should not be involved in the hiring process because they have no idea how to hire people. A lot of what their job is for hiring is to make sure that you're satisfying the job description, but they often are the ones who are doing that. But I've seen a lot of articles, especially here on LinkedIn, a lot of vitriol for recruiters about, they don't know how to hire people. We've had actual recruiters on our show here interviewed talking about what they can and can't do at some of these organizations. And I don't envy HR and I don't envy recruiters, especially because they're told to do something, but it's like, move this boulder and here's a limp noodle and you have to move this boulder with this limp noodle, and the limp noodle in this case is the job description, or here's 10,000 brown M&Ms, find me the one that is slightly off color, or something like that. And it's like that's difficult. Or the recruiters, some of the recruiters, the good recruiters out there, can and do push back, but I think that a lot of companies hire really crappy recruiting companies who will just shotgun a bunch of emails out and hope they get lucky. If you have a big enough company that has its own talent acquisition folks, I think that's why you see companies like Fangs and like Mangoes that can hire at scale. The problem is you have folks like 3301 who very rightly think that Fangs and Mangoes are a problem now. Mangoes, Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, Google, Oracle. I think that's the Mangoes. Fangs, of course, is what Facebook, Apple, another A there. Anyway, N is Netflix, G is Google, Famang, anything. The big corporations, the Fortune 10s of the world, that exist. I'm really hoping that in the next year they will figure this out and companies will start figuring out, hey, it's not a talent shortage, it's we don't know how to hire because we don't know what we want shortage. I'm hoping that will happen sooner rather than later, because there's a lot of folks that I know that are getting their asses kicked, and very much like I'm willing to take whatever because I like to eat food and I like to live in a house with a roof over my head. And I've got a lot of friends that are looking for work, and I appreciate conferences that we go to, like B-Sides, where they're going to have a career village, but I have to wonder, are they actually doing any good? The hiring villages or the resume review villages, because it's obvious that the blind is leading the blind in that case. And I hate saying that because I think they have the best intentions at heart, but if you don't actually have recruiters there who can actually help you with that, you're just living on another information security person's opinion of how a resume should be written or what to expect. I stopped volunteering for those villages because I honestly have no clue what people are looking for now in a resume. And this is why I say, if you're going to have a conference career village where you're going to be helping people with resume reviews, contact some local recruiters. One, you're double dipping here because the recruiters are going to get some leads, which might help them with hiring. And two, if those recruiters are smart and savvy enough, they will go, oh, the companies that I'm recruiting for want to see X, Y, and Z. Or the companies that I'm recruiting for, don't give a shit about, your 15 years of experience in Play-Doh making or whatever. There's some resumes that's like, I can look at it and go, yeah, they don't give a shit if you're an avid runner. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not going to put that I have a monthly gym membership. Just doesn't make any sense. But it's really hard because once you get down to, should it only be one page? Should it be, multiple pages if you're a senior person? How are you going to fit everything that is that shows should you have a cover letter? Some companies it's like, it's nice to have. Some it's like mandatory. Should you be tailoring your resume for every particular job you do, which is going to be time consuming and painful? So yeah, I know this is boring, but there are a lot of folks out there that need to hear this. And it's important for us to understand that. You know what? It is 4:15 my time, and my wife is probably looking at her watch saying, Brian needs to get down here so we can go to dinner. So I'm going to go. I'm going to try to be back on again this week. I want to do some boot.dev stuff because I'm really enjoying that. I'm going through Git right now, as a matter of fact, which is sufficiently complicated. I actually didn't know how complicated it is, but I'm going through learning how to merge commits through, different branches and what have you. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm gonna do some of that later this week, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, I just want to thank everybody for rating. If anybody is able, let me go see what's up. Let me see. Is there? Okay, I need my mouse. There it is. All right. Let's see if anybody's online right now. Tiberius is online. We can go hook up with Tiberius. Looks like he's got some Burp Suite on. Okay. Let's all go raid Tiberius because I haven't raided anybody in a long time. So, and he's got some audio on and all right. So I hope everyone has a good rest of their day, and I will be back on Thursday or Friday. Take care and have a good day, y'all. Bye.
Well, this doesn't really give me anything.